Hey everyone, I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, as the love and support everyone sends my way. From the heart, thank you. Also, do please like, share, subscribe, and hype the video. Thank you. Well, everyone, today I want to touch on a situation that we live in a state penitentiary down here in Mexico, right? And it was, well, I'm not gonna say one of the last times we got busted down here, because after this it was a few, right? But nevertheless, it was a time we got busted originally in Wasales, right? And we couldn't be there for obvious reasons, right? And as you know, we were helping to clean up the aftermath, with the muscles and the Beltranes and Wasadas belongs to Beltranes, it always has. But anyways, we eventually got moved, originally got moved to Culiacan here, but then within time they moved us to Mazatlan. In Mazatlan it's different, mostly it's laid back, it's chill, it's just a penitentiary in Mexico. There's a lot of homies though from everywhere, and we understood it ain't our terre, it's our terre because it's our bloodline, right? But it's not our terre, if you know what I'm trying to say. It has dueño, and Mazatlan belonged to the juniors. It's just it's facts, and nevertheless, there was. I want to run it off to like 8, 9 homies, from the states, and it would just include one Pili, the famous Mono from Ontario. He was there, or Chango, however you know him. But anyways, he was there with us, and we were waiting. Basically, here in Mexico, it's a waiting game, right? At least if you have the right angle. If you get busted after a couple times, it becomes antigüedad, antiquities, and they don't let you bail out. So you basically have to wait till the judge sentences you, and then turn around and pay. You pay, and it's to basically disappear that folder, type of thing. But anyways, it takes a while, and there was about 10 norteños in Mazatlan too. But again, we were aware it ain't our territory, and the norteños there were like everyone that on our end were busted. We had been busted in the stage, done shoot time, and it's a whole different way of thinking, and including myself, being from the Bay Area, and growing up with hate, and you know catching double life for murder and stuff like that. The shoe was an eye opener, right? When it comes to raza all around, and even not even raza, But anyways, they were doing their thing. Well, they had a thing going in Mazatlan. I don't want to put their business like that, but it was well known. It was basically behind timeshare in Mazatlan. So they were getting busted, right? So they were there with us, and we're just sitting down there in the patio, and most of us, even homies that had ladies and kids and stuff, we still not even feel comfortable allowing family and stuff to visit us because even though it belong to the juniors, if everything flips in Mexico. One day is one way, and then the next day is the next, right? It's just part of how it works down here. Your friends one day, your enemies the next day. It all takes the person you're supporting to want that power, or that other person to want his power. And they move on each other, and next thing you know, you caught up in a war. And so, anyways, we refrain, phone, and that's pretty much it, right? But there was a few camaradas. Well, I won't call them camaradas, but a few vatos that were from the states. But they got in the live, right? And they don't want no part of the wiggles no more that had to do with the causa or the movement. They just were what they were, and were out of bounds. They were the ones tripping, basically. But well, don't matter from who it came, but we had already gotten a green light. They get out of calzone, go ahead and line them up. We had the permission cover. We're probably going to receive a butt whoop in there, but other than that, it won't go past that. So, me personally, at least at that time, I was always willing to give a butt whooping I mean, receive a butt whooping as long as they allow me to give one. But it wasn't even that important. We stayed to ourselves. We had a tattoo shop in there for a while where we sat. We did our thing. All of us. And I want to talk about this little cagapalos, or this annoying little fool, right? That he was from Paramount, Barrio 13. He went by Bigotes in there, you know. He was all sleeved out. You would never think of anything though, because the way he dressed and the people he hanged around with, he had a little, he had Talibanes. For those that know, it's kind of like the entourage, the members have in the state, right? Cali. That's how you see the pens in Mexico. Someone important, they have 4 or 5 fools taking care of them, walking with them everywhere and stuff. And anyways, one day we're just chilling. We just happen to be in the same Trujillo, or the same, not building, but the same tier, right? As him. And Mexico, you could have your family, right? I already told you, you could have a girl staying there from Monday to Saturday if you want to. If you have your own cell and stuff. So I remember we're sitting down. There's actually a couple homies there, right? And the homies like to smoke bud, so they're doing their thing. We're sitting down, and this fool comes out without a shirt with this girl, and he walks down, I guess, buy dinner, tacos or whatever, wherever he went. But I flipped out because he straight looked like a paisano. I'm be straight with you, like the cats are wiggling down here. But when we see him with the shirt off and his back, he had, this is his neighborhood, or in this case, his old neighborhood. And we didn't know. So I tell the homie B, I tell him, hey, fool, look. And Bago tells me, like, "Ah, man, I hadn't seen that." So, we let it be for the moment. And the next day, me being I was just a pusher, just one of them cats that don't learn, about whoopings. And as far as I can remember as a kid growing up in Northern California or going back and forth, it was a daily thing, right? So I don't mind them. Or so, anyways, I went up to him and I told him, "Man, you're a homie," and he said, "No, I used to be in California, not no more." You know, and usually we leave it at that, right? We let him be. He was working for that old man with a hat. You guys know who I'm speaking of, and we let it be, right? But I was curious how he didn't talk to the other three homies that were there with him in power, or to some extent, right? So I ran his name. I went through. I went through Daryl first. Then I reached out to Cali, and they didn't know, Bigotes from Paramount Barrio 13. So, I dug in it. It's just one of them things, you get that feeling that there's something there, And to be honest, we had been there already for over a month, right? And me personally, I was anxious to get into something. I was just that individual. So I ran. I lead back all the way to where he lived and stuff, and it came out. They call him Conejo from Paramount Barrio 13. And I guess homeboy back in the days, we're talking about like, I don't know, early 90s, late 80s, like 89 or something. He had caught a case in Paramount, for sexual abuse on a female, right? And he went in the system. He did a grip of time. I forgot of like 12 or 15 years, but the whole time he was in the system, he paid. He paid his way so that he was able to walk GP. Because that's part of the heartaches I tell everybody. We go off believing in something, and next thing you know is you're next to a fool that has an R in his jacket. You know, a rape, and ti- your first instinct is, I want to cut him another smile, and up above they tell you, Charles, he's paying me, he's hands off, and you got no other option, because if you push, believe me, like I did at once, they could tell you to back off, or it's going to be you that's going to get wet, pretty much. But again, Mexico, it's still different, right? And the pintas, you don't want to ask why people are busted, sincerely, anywhere in the pintas in Mexico. It's best to stay amongst the ones you know, and that's it. That's why we stood to ourselves. But when that came back, I ran it to through a Pili that at the moment was running Paramount, right? And I guess he paid his way almost all the way through his time ended, right? But before his time ended, he would end up locking it up, and he locked it up good, even though it was from the main line. He was being extorted by T from SD, right? But was out of Paramount, and he made up a whole bunch of stuff, and to lock it up, he didn't even need to, because he wasn't validated or nothing, right? So after that, it was like, hey, D, so what do we do? If you get a chance to get him, get him. you know, tell him T from Mesa sends saludos, and you know, it was dispuesto. So I remember we come out the next morning, and I have that habit, to come up with a coffee mug with coffee and just basically pandear la bota with it, and just have it, drink it a little bit throughout the morning, right? And I had a piece with me though. Again, you don't need to even trip, right, on hiding them. You hardly see Judas. But anyways, he was over there eating some tacos dorados, right? And I didn't tell nobody because one thing that Mexico's big for is snitching, straight up. Man, if you fart, they'll tell you what it smells like, even though you're in your cell. Everybody's gonna find out, hey, this fool ate peanut butter. Damn, you know. So it's best when you could do something, just stay quiet about it, Even though we're in a spot where we're chilling, nobody tripping on us. Yeah, no, it's how it has to be. We've been in spots where they really flip out on us. And I told B, from San Pedro, hey, vámonos. And he goes, what do you need me to do? Nada. Just walk with me. His little crew, they're weenies, The moment they start seeing me on up on them, they ain't gonna do nothing. And if they do, let them, you know. That I had something, to equalize things. So I was gonna take care of my duties. So I went up and I boogie. I did what I had to do. And I did let him know, hey, so and so sends you his saludos. If you remember him, and the whole time he was threatening me, who I'm with, and and me just have to keep quiet and just boogie, go to town, right? And none of his little Talibanes jumped in straight up, And I didn't know that homie though had a piece on him, and also told him, who jumps in is gonna get whacked. If who's ready for it, vámonos. And I appreciate it. That homie, But anyways, it's it was one of them things, you come across in Mexico is every pin I landed in Mexico, you have them homies per se that don't want to be part of the crew no more, right? Or of the movement, which is respectful. They did their time, they did their thing, and if they are out here, we're out of bounds, right? And even in the wiggles of the Pilis and other streets, they act like they don't matter, right? That you're out here, so it's like who's one to judge them, So you always have that. But the thing is, what I want to point out is on Mono, I was doing things that didn't belong to me. You know how they always tell us Emma business is Emma business? That was Emma's business. They shielded this cat for many years, knowing he had an R. And if it wouldn't have been for me pushing, because I seen, and his nickname didn't match to his neighborhood, you know, the Pili would have been in there. He was in there just getting high, straight up, getting loaded, because they did have carga in Mazatlán. And when I told him, AD wants this, and that, handle it. I okay it too. It was like, okay. I opened my mouth, vámonos, but it's exactly what's happening, And I mean this in the most respectful way, I know a lot of people take my content out of text, and I only speak a past tense and the things that are occurring that for an outsider looking in, I was the insider at one time, right? I never questioned it, I never sidetracked, nada. But to the camaradas, it's just, it's sad, And I include myself, man. I did over 20 years to the dot, in and out the same way, same in Mexico, everything still run to the strange belief, the enemy was feared, but of what? Everything that gets done, it gets done by camaradas. Pay attention. All them days when they were active like that, it's done. Think about it. Nowadays, there's two per yard per se, and how many homies? So where's this fear from? The only fear is because they're being given, and listen to me, please. They're being given permission to run the prisons for us, but not by us. You know, I want to start. I'll end it there. Just I want everybody to focus on the two individuals are running a yard per se of over 200 camaradas under fear. No, they're in that position because the camaradas are giving them that permission, and it seems that's being lost in between the wiggles. And again, I understand it, but it's just an eye opener for those that haven't been there. It's just the type of things, you go in there, you put up, you do, and nowadays even messing with families, it's to that extent. Your canteen, your packages, you hit, it's like the minute they come out, the first one to open it is them, and you get what they want out of your own bash. It's a come on. But again, this is just an in look, a story I want to share with you guys. For those that haven't been there, push for family. That's take it from an advice from an idiot that did over 20 something years, and to the dot. For those there pushing, my respects, I understand, and I ain't trying to spread poison, just the causa is the causa, and the causa has to be met with or without belief, right? With this said, I send my love and prayers to everyone. Stay true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones.